And we went to the hospital, and it was in the emergency room, I hear them say, oh no, I don't know what. And my other daughter was like, what's going on, what's going on? And they're talking to her. And she came and she said, Mommy, they say you're having a stroke. I just went back, like back on the stretcher, and I just, relaxed until they came and they carried me into a room and did some tests, and the rest is history. I have no idea actually what happened after that.
And that's the crazy part because, Mom was in ICU for 6 weeks. So I want to welcome all of you to my mom, Gail Mentor. She is a 1%er, is what I call her. She is a survivor. And, with everything that has happened, I just wanted to go through that and relive that moment again as to what your experience was from your vantage point. This was like a pivotal moment that has inspired me to write the book. It has inspired me to move to a place now where I've gone from doing to now teaching everyday people how to do what I've done. I know we were on the phone that day.
Yes, I was coming back from picking up the children from school. I was picking up Nehemiah and Journey from school, and coming home from school, I had a headache, but the headache was coming off and on. So it wasn't anything to be too concerned about. But it was, I guess, since we were in traffic, I don't know if that is what brought it on, but we weren't moving at all. We were just like at a go slow. We were in dead traffic, and all of a sudden it came on, the headache came on very heavy, and I started feeling bad, feeling nauseous. And I'm saying, oh wow, not now, You don't want these things to happen while you're driving. So I was in the slow lane, as you'll call it, and I was just trailing. And I mentioned to you that I wasn't feeling good.
Yeah, I called you. It's interesting because I called you. And that's when you were telling me that you weren't feeling well at all and you had to pull over.
Yeah, and we were going to call, I said I was going to call I was going to call 911, and you said, why call 911? You're already driving. Why not go straight to the hospital? So I said, I don't think I'll be able to make it. And so you told me to put you on hold because you wanted to be part of the conversation. So I did. I called 911 and I added you to the call.
Yeah, and the call hung up on my side. So I was kind of stuck and freaked out, right?
So I called the 911. They asked me if I know where I'm going. I said yes, but they say, okay, you have to pull off right away. And if I knew the surroundings where I was. And luckily for me, I was on the parkway, and I knew where I was going, and I knew what the surroundings were. So I pulled off, and because they said that they couldn't come for me on the highway. I'll have to be on a local street. So that's what I did. So she said, well, so she stayed with me on the phone while I tried to maneuver off of the highway. And we went onto the local street, and she said, now, do you know where you are? I said, yes, I do. So she said, do you know the address of the street? Just let's get some cross streets. And I told her. So luckily for me, I looked up, I saw the name of the street. And I said, I'm passing here all this time. I never know what the name of the street was. And I looked up, I saw the name of the street. I gave her the name of the street and the cross section because both street names were there, so it was a perfect location. So she said, okay, just pull over and put your blinkers on. And within 5 minutes, they were there. So the cops came and they knocked on my glass, on the window of my glass. And then my granddaughter, who was sitting at the back, who we went to pick up after school, she started screaming. So I told her, be careful, calm down, it's just the police. But at that moment, I completely forgot that she didn't like cops. She was afraid of them. So one coming knocking on the window she was so scared, I should say. So when he came, they had a light and they flashed it in my eyes to make sure that I was all right. And he said, how do you feel? I said, well, I'm just having this headache and I don't know what is going on. But I wasn't feeling, so I say I was feeling nauseous and stuff like that. So he radioed to get the ambulance here. And they said, well, do you have someone that could come to pick up the car? I said, yeah, my daughter should be home. So I called my daughter, my other daughter, I called her and she came and picked up the car and she came. So they waited for her. The ambulance came. I got in the ambulance, but my daughter wasn't there yet. So they waited for her and then we all came down to the hospital. The hospital wasn't far from where I pulled off. And we went to the hospital. And it was in the emergency room, I hear them saying, oh no, oh no. I don't know what test it was that they did. I have no idea. All I'm hearing is, oh no, oh no. And my other daughter was like, what's going on, what's going on? And they're talking to her. And I'm there, and I just raised up my head, and I said, so I called her, and I said, Joanna, what's going on? And she came and she said, Mommy, they say you're having a stroke. And I said, what? I said, this is how people feel when they're having a stroke? She said, I guess so. And then she went back to the nurse who was trying to dictate to her what was happening. And I said, to myself, I was just there talking to myself, and I was just thinking, because my mom died of a stroke, and I said, I'm thinking here, is this what she was going through? But I was just feeling nauseous, to be quite honest with you. It wasn't that much of a headache, but it was just the feeling that it made you. I really didn't like that. So I just raised up my head. I see them still over there talking, and I just went back, lied back on the stretcher, and I just, relaxed until they came and they carried me into a room and did some tests. And the rest is history. I have no idea actually what happened after that, whether they put me under or whatever it was. But everything was done so fast because the next morning, all I remember them waking me up and telling me that we have surgery scheduled for this morning. I said, surgery? And they said, yes. And then the anesthesia came, did his thing, and I was out. So from that point up until when I was released, I have no knowledge as to what happened or what transpired. I only, knew of what I was told at that particular time. So I don't have any recollection of what happened.
And that's the crazy part because, Mom was in ICU for 6 weeks, more like 6-7 weeks. She was in ICU. And then they transferred her over. But let's just be very clear. Like, no one is in ICU for 6 or 7 weeks. Usually you come out of surgery for, brain surgery, and within like a day or two, they're moving you out of ICU. So, I had pushed off all of the work that I was doing off to my team to manage. And I had brought in an outside consultant to come in and manage my operation while I was dealing with this. And it was such a blessing to be at her bedside every day. She didn't even know I was there for most of it.
I had no idea what is there.
But I'm telling you, to be able to be there, nurses treat your loved ones better when you're capable and able to be at their bedside. I firsthand witnessed people come in, and because they had to go to work, they had to leave. So they weren't certain that their loved one was getting the care that they needed. I had no idea at that point in time the extent to which her life was hanging in the balances. But the outpouring of prayer that was coming your way, and my phone was ringing off the hook, left, right, and center. And I'm not just talking about, a couple of people from the church. I'm talking about hundreds of people from the church. Virtually thousands of people within the church groups, right, that were in a constant circle of prayer were coming and they were praying on your behalf. And this really is my thank you to all of those church members and the love that they extended to my mom. But I will also say this, all of you from the church have inspired me to give back. Whatever work my mom has been doing in the church has inspired so many of you. We're having like fasting circles and prayer circles and, coming together by the hundreds, if not thousands, of people throughout the church network that were praying for her as she was going through what she was dealing with. And just that entire process for me, it was something that I realized people deal with this every single day. And they have to make really hard financial decisions as to whether or not they're going to be by the bedside of their loved one, ensuring that their loved one gets the proper care, or even the ability to afford care for their loved ones during their most vulnerable time period. And it just changed me. I saw people come into ICU that didn't make it out. I saw people come in that were wheeled out. I saw their loved ones coming in and crying by their bedside. And while, our hour and our time is not yet known, it wasn't her time. But I do believe strongly that God allowed me and put me in a position to be there for her. And, we're in a season right now where majority of the population is skewed towards retirement age, 50 and 60 years old. And the average person in retirement only has $100,000 in retirement to get them through those heavy periods. It's up to us, those that are middle-aged, between that age of like 30 and 40, to help, support our parents and help them transition into this season. And so I realized at the time, I didn't realize it then, that, my mom is my muse, right? She is my inspiration. I've seen her fight through so much in this life, and I've taken up the mantle to fight with her and alongside her. And so the best gift that I can ever give her is an opportunity to live out the rest of her days however she chooses to, because she sacrificed enough for me. And I know several of you feel the same way about your parents and about your loved ones, and you're stuck with making hard decisions every single day. And that's what this whole Win Big Bids thing is about. And that's what this whole book launch party is all about, is to ensure that the days to come are going to be better than the days behind. And with that, thank you so much, Mom, for giving me trouble. It is the highlight of my life, most certainly. And I pray and I hope that there's many more days to come, but I can assure you that what you went through will never, ever be forgotten. And it'll be a seed that's implanted in the hearts of all of those who are watching, and all of those who desire to have and want more for their life. That hope starts when you decide that hope will begin. Because everything that this life has for you is in your hands. Remember, your life has already been orchestrated, and the success that God wants for you can happen, but only when you decide to allow it to happen. Thank you so much for all of you coming out and hearing just about my mom's personal story and how that's inspired me, with hopefully the desire to inspire all of you. Once again, I want you all to go out and win big.